This conference will now be recorded.
Okay,
I have a question about about number two, but I'll let you do this first.
well, if you want to do this, if you want to go to two, that's fine. But we'll just
Okay, I
start it.
did number two, but like,
But let's go back and see if we can review a little bit. Uh, and we had this sample problem, and I tell you to cut down on confusion, there were four things to do. We first of all gonna put the change in cash in. That's the first thing we're gonna do, right? Then the second thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the income statement and put in the net income or loss. Then the third thing was depreciation. And then the fourth thing was what? Dividends. So those are the four things that we're going to do right away as we work the problem. Now, we went through those fraudulent companies. Let's talk about why we're doing this. And companies are always committing frauds, or you could be an employee working at a company. And so we said that you should go in and try to review and look at their financial statements, and especially the statement of cash flow. This is the statement that people didn't look at. Uh, and so because they didn't look at it, then they had difficulties going on and doing the adjustment that they needed to make. And we said a statement of cash flow had four parts. First of all, operations. We want to make sure that the company has net income and cash from operations. We said it would be good if investments was negative because the company was expanding. And finally, we said it would be good if the company was paying off debts and paying dividends to the owners and still had a positive cash flow. So that's what we were trying to do. So we'll just do it on the Word document. Let me just see. So let me see if I can get it next to it. Get the blank one next to it. So I'm going to copy the solution. So I'll have it close by. Copy it. And I'm going to go down here to problem one, I guess. So we got a Word solution. I prefer Excel, but since we're having some issues, we'll just go with the Word solution. Now in problem one, what is the first thing we're going to do? We try and do a cash flow statement. What is the first thing we're going to try to do?
Look for
find the
change.
change
The
in cash.
change.
What changed?
The
Change in
cash.
cash.
So we're going to go to the cash account and we're going to look for the change. And what part of the statement is the cash account going to be in?
It's at the bottom.
That's
Cash flow
part
at the bottom.
that's part four. That's the bottom. What was our change in cash?
200,000.
200,000.
So therefore, we know the answer to the problem is what? 200,000.
200,000.
Now that's not hard to put in, is it? 300. Uh, cash was 100. Ending cash was 300. So it went up by 200,000. And maybe I should have put the ending cash first and then the beginning, but can everybody get to 200,000?
Yeah.
Yes, it's the difference, right?
Right. Yes.
What's the next thing you're supposed to put on the statement?
Net
The
loss or
cash
net
flow.
income.
So what did you have?
I ain't do number one, so I don't know.
You don't
It
know
say income. It say income right there,
how
right?
much.
Three, 350,
Three
So it had
350.
300.
350,000.
So I'll leave it alone for now. So therefore, we're gonna go up here and put 350,000. What's the third thing we're gonna do?
Depreciation expense.
Depreciation.
How much was it?
It say
Appreciation
50,000.
50,000.
50,000.
50,000. So we get the 50,000 and we put that here because it's a non-cash item. Then we need a dividend. How much is our dividend? Let me type
If
it
it's not on there, you gotta calculate it.
here. So I'm gonna put this in right here so we can get that dividend. So it says we're gonna pick up the beginning retained earnings, which is what? 300,000.
Dividend.
Then we're gonna add the net income, which is what? 350. So this gives us a subtotal of 650. And if the ending didn't bring up everything, let me see, let me insert row below. So the ending retained earnings was how much? We look on the balance sheet, the ending retained earnings was 550. So what does dividends have to be?
The ending retainer subtracted by the net income. Yeah.
If
Dividends
our
have to be
subtotal is
1,000.
650 and we need it to be 550 for the ending retained earnings, how much
It'll
is
be
our dividend?
100,000.
How much?
100,000.
Thank you, Ms. Branch. 100,000. So we put that 100,000 here, and
When you
let's
got
see
that ending dividend, that 550, where did you get that from?
balance sheet,
Which two did you add?
retained earnings, beginning and ending.
Retain. Okay. Okay. I see. Thank you.
So you're welcome. Okay, so at this point, we've taken care of the net income. We've taken care of depreciation. And of course, that's this account, it's repeated here. And we've taken care of cash, and we've taken care of retained earnings. So we've got most of the accounts taken care of, Team One. Okay. So remember, we're looking at everything in terms of cash. So when we look at assets, if you buy something, your cash goes down. If you sell it, your cash goes up. So that's how the assets work. The receivables did what? And of course, this is part one of the statement. Inventory is going to be part one off.
Hey, whoever got their mic unmuted, can you mute it? I can't. I can barely hear the professor.
Okay. I think they muted. Thank you. Yeah, if you're not talking, just mute because, yeah, it'll be issues. Okay, so inventory and receivables are all current assets, so they go in part one. Now the receivable was 125, it went up. So the template says if the asset goes up, such as account receivable, it's a use. So it went up what? It went from 120
75,000.
75,000. So we're going to put a 75,000 here. What did the inventory do?
Went up in use.
No, it went down. So we must have sold inventory. Okay. So the inventory is going to be on here. It's a current asset that decreased. And of course, you got your chart of accounts that tells you what's current and what's not. Everybody got a chart of accounts? It should be one in course content.
The chart of accounts is needed for what?
Well, if you don't know what the account, see, if you got a chart of accounts, it tells you what's
Oh,
current,
that one. That one.
what's,
Okay.
what's a current liability, what's a long-term liability. So if you had any questions about where something goes, that tells you. That's all we're saying. Okay, so once we put in the inventory and the account receivable, you know, one went up, that's a use of cash. One went down, that's a source of cash. So now we have two more items that we can strike. Got them done. Let's go to equipment. Equipment did what? It went
Went
up
up
by. It went up by what?
Three
What
hundred
part
and
of the
seventy-five thousand.
375,000.
375,000.
what part of the statement is it going in?
The increase.
Yeah, but what part? One, two, three, or four? That's the first thing. Gonna go in part two. It's a non-current asset. So the current assets are up here. The non-current assets are here. See that? Oh, that change was 375. So this is where we're buying equipment to expand. And what else did we do?
Wait, I'm sorry. Can you say that again? I didn't hear you. How do you know that it's in part two or whatever two? Whatever.
because if we look at the template, so that's a good point. Current assets and current liabilities are in part one. Long-term assets are in part two. See, the current assets, that's operation. That's where we want the cash to be generated. And we'll see why that's important. But you're supposed to be generating the cash from operations in these, with these accounts. And so when we buy the IBM stock, you bought some stock, what's going to happen to your cash? It's going to go down. So this is an investment you're making. And we'll look at explaining these in a few minutes. So now we have all of the assets done. We just strike them out as we get them done. Now, liabilities operate just the opposite of assets. When a liability goes up, such as you get a student loan, your cash account goes up. Of course, when you pay for it, your cash account will go down. But right now, the account payable did what? It went up. It's the current liability, so it's going to be in the first part of the statement. And it says if the current liability increases, it's the source. So for the account payable, it increased. So it's the source. So we can now scratch accounts payable. Then we have the long-term bond, and it went up 250. So they got some more money borrowing. So what long-term bond was 250. Okay. So what we got left? What we got left? You have any account left?
We have common stock left.
What happened with common stock?
It went up. It increased.
So if you know that on that your first journal entry, what's going to happen to cash if you issue common stock? The cash is going up, and so therefore 50,000 here. So this is the common stock. Okay, so now we have them all in. So now we're going to add up each area. So if we add up 350, 50, 50, and 200, how much do we get as a source of cash from part one?
$600,000.
650 maybe?
You said the 350 to the 200.
And the fifth, everything up here, all four of these numbers. Is that 650,000?
I just said it.
It's 650.
650.
And we add up the credits. So what was our change in operations? Would that be 575,000?
575.
Okay. Now, let's go to the long term assets. And what did they do? How much IBM stock did we buy? It was 200 for the IBM stock. So this should have been 200. I put a 100 down. This should have been 200. So we don't have anything sources. So we have 575 from investment. So we invested a lot of money. Then we get to the financing. This is how we finance the company. So what this tells us, okay, how did we, did I put that bond on the wrong side? Yeah, that's on the wrong side. The bond should be on the other side. Because if you borrow money, your cash goes up. Okay, so we have in part three, 300,000. And the dividends is 300, is 100. So our change in cash is 200. So now let's look at it. 575 in operations, but another 575 in investments. So if you made 575 and you spent 575 and you don't have nothing left over, that's not the best situation. Then you have some money down here. So when we look at this company, it says its net income is 350. So the assets of 1,200,000. So the question is, would you invest $1 million in this company? So that's the big thing. Would you invest $1 million in this company? Branch, this is yours. You're going to invest $1 million in this company. I'm going to give y'all 2 minutes to make a decision on that.
I think I would invest. Oh,
Okay, so they had net income,
Yeah,
300.
we gonna invest. We investing.
All right.
Yeah.
Only thing I'd say would be, okay, if a company it has 350 net income and has 200,000 payable. It eventually has to pay, so it has 575. But the company spent everything. So if you made 575 and you spent 575, what shape are you in?
Yeah, in
So you
bad
have,
shape.
Yeah, we broke.
Yeah, we is
and
broke.
worse than that, what? You owe a long-term bond.
Yeah.
So remember, we want this to be positive. We want this to be positive, but not this positive. It has to be, we would, you know, 300,000 or so in this area would be fine, but that's too much. But then this is taking on a lot of debt. So you got 200,000 because you're 250 in debt. So there's a question in terms of whether we want to invest in this company or not. So that's why we do all of this. And this is why uh, people get misled. They look only at the income statement and the balance sheet. And they say, this looks solid. Cash is up and had this net income. But they don't spend time looking at the liabilities and the changes and where the money went and what the future obligations are going to be. So no, I would not be interested in investing in a company if the cash went up 200, but the main source of it is a long-term bond plus the issues of other stock. So those are the type of determinations you got to make, and that's why you have your individual cash flow paper where you're going to look at a company's financials and make a decision will you invest in it or not, as you did just now. There is no right or wrong answer, but you need to get in the habit of doing this. Okay, we're going to go to problem 2 next. So I want everybody to work on problem 2. So we're going to work on problem 2 together. So I want everybody to work on problem 2. So I'm going to give you all 15 minutes to work on problem 2 to get that knocked out. Some people will have worked on it, but we're going to go problem 2 together. So this is problem 2. Here's the income statement, 800,000. Here are the assets. Here are the liabilities.
Professor, I have a
Prepare.
question.
Yes.
So will our exam only be on cash flows?
Or you want some more on it?
No, I just want cash flows because I'm good at this.
Oh, you're good at this.
Yeah.
Okay. You have a study problem that I sent you, and we'll talk about it a little bit later. But A students have to prepare these. So I gave you the statements now. A students got to prepare them if they so desire. See, you good at this. Weatherspoon is good at this, so she's ready. Townsend, you ready? Townsend is shaking her head. She's not ready. So this was the problem of why the frauds occurred. People would say this don't make sense, and I don't know what you're doing, and I don't know how to do this. And they could have used this statement as we did just now. So everybody take about 10 or 15 minutes, because you're right, it shouldn't take that long, as Weatherspoon said. You got a template. Now, suppose you didn't have a template. Suppose I told you to do this and you didn't have a template.
What's the
Then you,
template called in Blackboard again?
well, the template here. So I guess it's in the
You
statement
talking
of
about?
cash flow
Oh
content
shit.
information.
Oh yeah, you sure right.
It's right there. So you just make yours blank and work on it. So while you all are working, I'm gonna clean this one out. And you all got to do the same thing. So it's not that hard, but you got to think differently because you're dealing with people who are deviant, and they will take your money, and so you got to watch it. And you know, most of you business majors, so you got to be able to look at this. So that's why I had you do the fraudulent companies. So now, if you don't want to get defrauded, you got to learn how to prepare, and more important than prepare, how to interpret these statements. So let's go and do the next one with you making a decision of whether you're going to invest your $1,000,000. That is, are you going to go to work for them? So everybody clear on what we're doing. See, uh,
Can you repeat it one more time?
what you want me to repeat?
Just the last sentence you just said.
I've been saying a whole lot. I think what I'm saying, you got a template
Okay.
and you're filling in the template. If you had to do this, and I mean, I had to create this template. It does not just exist, and it's not in any textbooks. That's one of the reasons I wrote this text. And that way, so that okay, you'd have a chance to work it. So what I want you to do now is to go work 8-2. And I guess the last thing I said was tell me whether you'd invest $1,000,000 in the company or not. Would you invest $1,000,000 in this company versus the last one? So Towns that I'm gonna be asking you first, if you, whether or not you're going to give them your $1,000,000.
Well, with the last problem, I said yes, and I ended up broke. So my answer now is gonna be no.
You can't operate like that. See, James Harden, what, wanted to be traded. Then he didn't want to be traded and he got traded. So, okay. So let's everybody take 15 minutes. Then we'll come back and see where we are. With everybody, doing a part. So I'm going to come back and call on people for each part, and then we'll talk about the analysis together. So you should have this problem.
Can you blow the problem up a little bit? And it keeps moving around.
Okay, yeah, I'm kind of moving it. It should,
Yeah.
yeah, it should be in course kind. You want me to blow it up? All right, you want me to blow it up and not move it?
I can't see it. Okay, it's in course content. I can go over there.
Yes, in
It
course
probably
kind.
be it probably be easier where I can just copy and paste the numbers.
Can you see it now?
Yes, thank you. That's 200. Okay, I got it.
Take a picture of this, and I'm gonna give you the bottom part.
Okay.
Take a picture of that.
Okay, hold on. Okay, I got the picture. Wait a minute. Go back up to the top. Oh Lord, I have it, Professor Boyd. Hold on.
Can you put it on the problem, Mr. Boyd?
Okay, how we coming? How are we coming?
For the dividends, you're supposed to subtract the beginning retained earnings by the ending retained earnings.
We do a statement of retained earnings. Let's see, we got a blank one. The beginning retained earnings was 300,000. So we're gonna put 300,000 here. Wrong line. We're gonna put 300,000 here. The next thing it asks for is the net income. So this problem had net income. That's a jump. I can use the one close by. So beginning retained earnings 300,000. And what was the net income in this problem? Problem 2, the net income was 800,000. That means our subtotal before dividend was 1,100,000, and our ending retained earnings was what?
The ending retained earnings.
It
And
was 900,000.
so what must the dividend be? What
Hold
must
on,
dividend be?
200,000.
Looks like a good answer to me. So this was the fourth thing that we wanted to put on our statement. Statement of dividends 200,000.
Somebody
What
need to
was
mute their mic.
what was the change in cash in this problem?
Mm, change in cash. I got 725,000.
Okay, so 725,000. That's a change in cash. So that's the answer.
Mm-hmm.
What was the net income? We said the net income was what?
Net income was 800,000.
800,000.
And the appreciation was what?
100,000.
What did the receivables do in this problem? I guess that's next up. The receivables did what? They went down.
Went down.
So is it a source or a use?
Also,
Gonna be a source because it went down. Because it went down. Whenever the asset goes down, it's a source. If it goes up, it's a use. So we go to the inventory, and the inventory in this problem did what? It went up by 150,000.
50,000.
So the inventory is going to be on this side this time. It's 150.
1,000.
And what did the equipment do?
Hmm.
Went up by 300,000, right?
Yep.
So for the equipment, $300,000 use because the equipment went up. So when the asset goes up, you're gonna get into a use of cash. So in this problem now, we finished with all of the assets. So all of this is done. What did the account payable do?
Went up.
It,
The
it went
it went down
went down.
Went down.
50,000.
It's gonna be a source or a use.
It's a use.
Source.
But then when you pay your student loan, your cash, it goes down, right? So this is gonna be a use. So when the current liability goes down, decrease in the current liability is on the use side. So how much was that?
50,000.
$50.
That's so when you pay on your student loan, cash is gonna go down. Then we had a long-term note. What did it do?
Went up 450,000.
$150. So how's that impact cash? It becomes a source.
Mhm.
And the final thing, all we have is what common stock, and we done. What did common stock do?
Common
Went
stock
up 50,000.
Went
went
up
up.
50.
No, I think it went about 25.
Common stock,
It went
50
up
to 100.
50.
That's 50.
Mm-hmm.
We done. So now we need to add up each area, see what it looks like. So operations has what? 975,000. And those are the sources. Our uses were what? 200,000. So 775,000 for some operations. Looking good. We purchased 300,000 in equipment. That's all we have. So this is what? A minus 300,000. And from financing, we had 500 in sources, and we had 200 in uses. So this is 300. So we want 725. What do we get? Uh-oh, something's off here. Didn't we say that change in cash was
Against each other.
725, right? But why are we off? answer something wrong.
Wrong.
975, 775, 300, 500. That's 200. It's 300.
Is the 975 wrong?
Where you see 975 at? Oh, here? Yeah, I guess this is supposed to be
Yeah.
what? 8. This should
Is the
be 8.
depreciation supposed to be 2,000?
It's how much? Somebody said 100. It's 50. I think somebody, no, wait a minute, wrong problem.
Oh, that's right.
Depreciation is 100.
I'm lost.
So 800, 900, 975. So the 975 is correct. These two, we get 775. See if we can find out where we have a problem. So this should be 725. The account receivable is $25,000 change, and it went down. So do we have 25,000 in here for receivables? No, we got 50 in here. This is supposed to be 25,000. Probably looked at the wrong problem. So this should be 925. 925. So this would be 725. So minus 300 plus 300, we get 725. So I think I probably pulled that from the wrong problem. Are we going to invest in this company? Its operations look good. Didn't spend all that money that way. But you just have to wonder why they borrowed all of this money and what they're going to do with it. That is, you already had 300,000. Why do you go borrow so you have more money? But you know, they might have a purpose. So we wouldn't just turn them down. So we might invest in them. Okay, everybody ready for the test on Tuesday?
No.
Who said no?
Sorry. Try on. Whatever the fuck.
Trayon say not ready. Amani, are you ready?
I'm gonna have to watch your YouTube a few more times of these cash flows, then we'll see.
All right. So what we'll do
Is it
so that
gonna
we
be online?
is it going to be what?
It's gonna be online. The exam is gonna be online Tuesday. Like we don't
Yeah,
come to class.
we'll be
We
online
do
in
the.
time. So we'll finish it up that way. It works out because I have other classes, and so online I can stop this, but you can still complete the exam. Let's see what we want to work next time. So review those. Let's look at 4.
Are we going to meet on Tuesday or just do our test?
We'll meet on Tuesday and work some more problems. So everybody, so do we need to do 3, 4 and 5 on Tuesday. So everybody work on 4 and 5 on Tuesday. We have a gain in these, so we're going to do some different analysis. So we will work on those on Tuesday. Then we'll have the exam on Thursday, so everybody have a fighting chance. So since we're meeting virtually, we'll take another little time.
Okay.
I know Weatherspoon is ready for her test, but we'll try to get everybody else ready with Weatherspoon. This is not that hard, but this is what you got to do. So get your accounting and get your cash flow paper ready, so that will help you too to actually go and see uh, that these statements exist and how they impact a company. So look at some get your company and look at it and see how that looks. Okay? All these ghost people here today. Okay, so we will try to finish up. We'll have the test online on on Thursday, excuse me. I have another class that meets from 2:30 to 4, so that helps me in terms of being virtual. Uh, so you'll have that break. But then once we come back, because everybody said they want to learn face to face, so we'll have to work a different level. Sometime I may still test virtually, uh, because that it'll just depends. I'll see, but more time is available when we do that. But on the other hand, people have classes, so we have to make sure that you can see these are not that long. They don't take that long to do. You just got to get your head wrapped around it and do it. Okay? So everybody have a good weekend. Watch the video. Work on 4 and 5. We'll cover 4 and 5 on Tuesday. Then Thursday you should be ready for exam. All right?
Do we got something else due on Tuesday?
Your cash flow paper on the company. So you're supposed to be selecting a publicly traded company. That'll be it. Give them where we got today. You don't have to worry about that other problem. So just
What
the
about
individual cash flow paper.
what about the one that it was like, if would you invest in the company?
Yeah, that's the cash flow paper.
Okay.
So all I want
Oh,
from
it's
Tuesday
supposed to be
is
a whole paper.
about 3 or 4 pages. It's similar to the fraudulent company report. Tell me about the company, make some copies of their cash flow statements, and then tell me whether you would invest $1 million or not and why. Get a
So
company you plan on going to work for.
Are
can
these
we do it in a
instructions?
PowerPoint?
Can, can you do what?
In a PowerPoint?
That's fine. Any way you want to do it.
Okay.
But get a company that you work for or that you plan on working for and get their statements and make an assessment. No right or wrong to that. Just you're doing it and you're going to make an assumption, okay? That will help you get a better feel. Okay, you all have a good weekend and I'll see you all on Tuesday.
All right, Dr.
Bye.
Boyd. And
Bye.
Professor Boyd.
Yes,
I emailed you. I spoke with about you to you about last class about me not having no grades in the grade book, and you said maybe the group didn't put my name on there. I emailed you the assignments with my name on there.
I saw the email. I'll be working on all of that tomorrow, on
Okay.
updating.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Okay, we'll see you all on Tuesday.